New report from the FBI reveals crime in the United States decreased in 2024. The FBI defines violent crime as murder, non-negligent manslaughter, rape, robbery, and aggravated assault, which saw a 4.5% drop compared to 2023. I'm joined now by former FBI Assistant Director Brian Boetig. Brian, it's great to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
Can you walk us through the most important takeaways from this year's numbers?
I think it's important to understand that these are 2024 numbers as well, too. So all of the data for 2025, the last 8 months, isn't included here. But it's very important to look at the decrease in the murder rate, almost 15%, and all violent crime and property crime decreased significantly from 2023 to 2024. So there were significant changes in national crime patterns. It's important to also recognize that this doesn't always fit every city. There are some cities that probably
Mhm.
had no violent crime last year, and others that are probably driving the statistics up. So all crime really is local, and you really need to extrapolate this data down to your individual city to see what the changes are in your particular area.
And it seems like sometimes, at least, it does come in waves. Like we saw a major spike during COVID. How do you assess what we're seeing now compared to then? And did the pandemic have a factor in all that crime?
I think if we look back to the 2013-14 time period when you had Trayvon Martin and the Michael Brown shooting, there was a pendulum swing against law enforcement at that particular time where public sentiment wasn't necessarily in law enforcement's favor. There was a lot of beginning of the defund the police movements and a lot of things that had an adverse impact on policing in America. And one of those would be recruiting. You couldn't get officers to
Mm.
take this job. But in the last, since the COVID time period, the last couple of years, the recruiting and retention efforts that have been made are starting to pay off because now you have more officers on the street than you did several years ago. And it takes a few years for an officer to go from being trained to actually having an impact on crime.
And Brian, even though crime went down last year, the report found violent crime still occurred on average every 25.9 seconds. So, what tools and tips can you offer us for staying safe to avoid violent crime?
Personal awareness of what's going on around you. So many people are walking with their faces down in their phone, looking at the ground, looking at their phone, and being distracted is the number one thing that somebody is going to look at to target you for being the victim of a violent crime. So being aware of your surroundings when you're in parking lots and walking around outside, just that personal awareness.
That's great advice. Thank you so much, Brian Botig.
Thank you for having me.